All right, greetings. So, hey, we're gonna hang out and play some Starfield here in a minute. But I was thinking, just with a lot of YouTube vids out there on Starfield, and a lot of weird drama on Starfield. Um, I mean, not that there's not drama on YouTube for literally everything that ever happens, but just for for a game, I thought it was a bit odd, a bit much. And just interesting. So I thought, well, okay, wow, how is the game? Like, how do I feel about this game? How good or bad is it? So I did think about it just the tiniest bit, and not to, I always say that one of the problems with the internet is it made all of us think our opinions are objective truth. So I'm not. This is just, it is my opinion. It is meaningless in the scheme of things, but um, I'm having a good time. It's not a perfect game by any stretch. It might not even be a great game, but it's certainly a good game. And so I was thinking about, what do I like about Starfield? And the first thing, it's very easy, right? There's lots to do, lots of systems to play with. You could be questing, you could be taking out, random explore sites on the map and gunning down pirates. You could be scanning planets and taking time just to go from, animal to animal, plant to plant, uh, um, survey site to survey site, and all of those are valid and fun. You could be trying to grab, that's why I picked Wanted, is I wanted space combat, so I can jump from system to system and get lure bounty hunters in and kill them. Um, all of those are good and fun activities. So there's a lot of activities to interact with, and so I think that is definitely a positive. Um, I think gunplay is good. I think that Starfield has good gunplay. Like, I didn't mind Fallout 4's gunplay, but it wasn't great. This is good. It's tighter. It's certainly not, your next FPS. I wouldn't. It's not competitive FPS material, but it is good, fun gunplay. It's fun to shoot. The guns feel good, and there's lots of them, and it is definitely fun. Space combat's fun, although I'm gonna say it's not super deep. It is fun in the same way that No Man's Sky space combat is fun. You zoom around, you shoot dudes. It's mostly easy. Sometimes it's hard because you're running up against a level 40 something ship, and you're like, it's probably not my. No, I'm not. I'm probably not there yet. It is certainly fun enough. You would think with all the widgets, you can play with the power and so on. Like, you think with all that, and there's thrusters and so on, but I will say, like I said, it's a little bit shallow, the space combat. It's fun enough. I do seek it out. You know, it's one of those things where you go, wow. And don't get me wrong, I'm still not convinced that loading up your ship with particle beams and flying backwards and trying to engage the enemy about 3,000 to 3,500 meters is not the strategy to go at all times. But we'll see. We'll see if that plays out, because I'm not that far into the game. But I do like the space combat, for what it is. It's not elite, or but I think the character options are fun. I like this iteration of the Bethesda game better than vanilla Skyrim, as a for instance. I like the skills mostly. I like it better than Fallout 4, 100%. I think Fallout 4's character generation, character gameplay let it down a little bit in terms of the building the character. This is a little better. I'm gonna say though that, well, I like it, but but again, it's one of those where I'm 60-40, 70-30 on it. I think so far it is fun enough, but I do think probably that there are some skills in those trees that are losers. They just don't make enough difference. Like, I think a lot of the social tree is pointless, except for the first couple. There's a couple in there that are good, but I think a lot of them are just like, well, am I ever going to use this? And it's a lot like Fallout 4 in that there's, I think, some loser skills in there. But I do like it so far. I think it's fun to level up. It's fun to progress your skills and get the next tier opened up and so on. Um, what I think my main verdict on it, let's see, is it is a classic Bethesda RPG in space. It is Oblivion in space, effectively. It's closer to Skyrim in space. Some people say, oh, it's like Oblivion in space. And like it's it's closer to Skyrim in my mind than Oblivion in space, but it is still a classic Bethesda RPG in space. It's a Fallout in space almost, but a good iteration of a Bethesda RPG. It is a new world. It's a new setting and genre, and I like all of that. I think that is a winner, and I think the biggest one, the one that actually sort of made me go, "Hey, this is actually a good game." It makes me want to run tabletop game Traveler. Playing this game makes me go, let's go watch some Firefly and play some Traveler, and that's good, right? It's a lot like City of Heroes always inspires me to play a superhero game, a tabletop superhero game. This game makes me want to go and play Traveler. I think that's cool. It's cool that it actually, honest to goodness, inspires something, and that's pretty cool. So now the bad, which unfortunately it's a big list, but none of it ruins it. It just, so one thing to keep in mind, I think like any Bethesda game, especially the later ones, I hate to say it, they have gotten the integrity of the individual systems. So, okay, time. I'm going to take a time. So time. Ref calls time. I think that the trajectory of Bethesda games has generally been that the overall environment cleverness has generally is good, but that over the course of time, the integrity of the individual systems has degraded, if that makes any sense. It's been streamlined and the individual systems have all gotten slightly crappier over time. Now, having said that, I think they've streamlined out some wonkiness. Like Morrowind, I thought had a wonky character progression system where you had to game it or else it sucked. Oblivion, had a little bit of a mess in terms of, hey, leveling up's actually a bad thing. But I think like the character builds in Daggerfall, the character builds in Morrowind, the character building in Oblivion, the spell making, all those things were better. And then Skyrim was a streamlining of all these individual systems. Having said that, I think that the environment and the world building's pretty good in, say, a Skyrim and a Fallout. I think those games are fun. And maybe to some degree, in my mind, not perfect, but maybe even more fun than even some of the older games. That's just my opinion there, right? But I think the individual systems sort of suffer. So in this game, in Starfield, though I think the individual systems are a little better than a lot of the more recent Bethesda titles, the economy and the rewards are off. In my mind, nothing actually is rewarded consummate to the time that it takes, right? You explore an entire planet and you get a little bit, and you get $1,200 if you sell the survey data to Vladimir. And you can just go kill a pirate and make that off his corpse, done. And you kill hundreds of pirates, and the time it takes to do a bunch of kill a bunch of pirates on the ground or in the sky is almost nothing. So I think the rewards are off in that sense. And I do understand, like, it's hard to it's hard to balance because you do have this sort of concept of you got these ships and they're giant and they cost lots of money, and but they can't, because then if you do that, then one ship and then you're set for life and you don't have to do anything else, right? That's the traveler paradox, in the sense that if you actually did commandeer a ship and were able to sell it and make $10 million, then you could buy the best gun in the game, because there's no gun in the game that costs as much as that ship did effectively. So I understand that all that, but I still think the rewards are off in terms of how long does it take to do a thing. I think certain things ought to be maybe a little more rewarding, um, or maybe a little less even. But I think the economy is a little goofy and the rewards are a little goofy. To that end, and maybe a little bit of a segue to that, I think the itemization in space combat seems weird to me, in the sense that you know you have this system where you have, oh, this thing does shield, lasers do shield damage and ballistics do hull damage, and then we're just going to make particle guns that do both, and you can mostly get particle weapons to do about the same. Like, I just and the costs don't feel like they make sense all the time. Like, why does this cost 10,000 and this costs 3,000 when this looks like it does as much damage as this? Don't get. I could be missing something very basic, but it just feels like the progression of the items in space combat and the space building is just not. It seems off, and I'll be honest, it does with the guns too a little bit, right? I was playing one a run, I was putzing around, and I got this gun that does 4 damage. I got this gun that does 12 damage now. Ooh, 12. That's big. I got this gun that does 250 points per shot all of a sudden. It's like, well, or the other one, let's do the easy one that does 50. And I'm like, well, which am I going to use? I'm going to use the 50. And we're going to use the 200. Now, the 200 is longer range, crappier magazine, of course, and so on. But it just all seemed weird. So the itemization, and I put in space combat, but I mean the itemization generally, to me, seems a bit wonky, and I don't quite get it. How's that? I'm gonna give me one. So I'm gonna actually skip one. Hold on. I think performance is lackluster. I don't care what Todd Howard says. I think the performance is a little shitty on NVIDIA cards, but it is workable. There are mods already out to help us NVIDIA users, and I'm now, for the most part, 90+% of the time, I'm getting, V-synced to my monitor, and I cap my monitor at 60 frames at the moment, so I'm good, right? So I do feel. I feel people's performance woes, because, again, just a little bit ago I was doing fine, and now all of a sudden every game comes out and it sort of sucks. So, but this one especially. Fast travel does make space seem small at times. I'm not sure exactly what I would have asked them to do here, but I will agree that the way the game couches fast travel makes the world makes space seem tiny. Um, I I don't even know that that's a bad thing. Because I could put up here, I could put respects my time, right? I could make that a good one. Respects my damn time. Um, I think just maybe the tiniest bit of trickery here might go a long way. I'm just not 1,000%. I'm not actually 1,000% sure what I want out of that. But I do agree when people go, yeah, everything seems tiny because I'm just jumping from point to point to point to point, and there doesn't feel like there's any. So I don't think it's that space seems smaller. I want to fly from planet to planet. I actually don't. I actually don't love that in a lot of games. Like when I play something like Elite or whatever, a lot of time I spend just I'm going to go that way and go make myself some coffee. I'm not actually playing the game. It's simulating me being a space captain, but not in a good way. Right? In Traveler, every jump took a week. I don't want that. What I do want though is I want the illusion. I want the illusion that if I point my ship somewhere and go somewhere, that there is a chance that I find something interesting on the way. I think that's what the game lacks. It's not that I want to actually take 20 minutes to go from planet to planet. I think that would suck, actually. And I have played games where a lot of it is that, and it does sort of suck, to be quite honest. I actually don't want this game to be a space simulator. It's not a simulator, it is a space RPG. And in my RPG, when you jump, I usually just go, and you jump, and that week is done. I want the same thing here, but I want a little bit better illusion that me going from place to place is meaningful in some way. So I put here under in parentheses, you're either in orbit or you're landed. And that's it. That's the only thing you can be. I have never seen an encounter when I'm flying from planet to planet. Every so often I want to be taken out of, I want to be interrupted. I want the sirens to go off. I want to be, action stations, and the bounty hunters jump me, and I am halfway between Mars and Pluto. Done. That's what I want, actually. I just want a little bit of that illusion. That's the thing in Skyrim. In Skyrim, I can run from X to Y. Now, mind you, I can fast travel too. Skyrim also has this problem. Once you get to a place that you could just jump around and the world seems way smaller once you have discovered all the points. But if I run from A to B, there is a good chance that I will be jumped by a bear between A and B. Right? Or a damn Spriggan. And so on. In Morrowind, it was cliff racers. Oh my god, the cliff racers. But you get the point. I like the idea of building outposts, but I hate the interface for building outposts. There you go. I said it. I hate the interface for building outposts right now. I like the flyout camera. I wish there was a grid. I wish you could just put things on a grid. Done. That would be ideal for me. Give me a grid. I did find that in the settings you can turn down the speed of rotation, so that does help lining things up. Definitely set that setting if you're playing and find yourself frustrated by trying to make neat rows of things. The last thing, I know someone's going to come back and tell me, well, no, actually the quests are amazing and you're crazy. I feel the quests are just a little shallow at times. They suffer from one too few things happening. So there was this one quest where you come to a planet and there's a ship there and you're asked to go talk to the ship because no one can communicate with the ship. It turns out these guys, this is a spoiler by the way, turns out these guys are 200-year-old, they're explorers, it's a generational ship right before FTL, and they've showed up and now they want to settle, but guess what? We developed jump drives and we leapfrog them. Oops. That's a whole complicated thing. That is a great possible adventure. In fact, I'm stealing that for my game. If I want to run Traveler, I'm stealing that for my game. That's a great idea. Whoever thought of that quest, great idea. The execution's terrible because ultimately it's just like, yep, you can either blow them out of the sky or buy them a grav drive. Yay! Or make them indentured servants on the planet. But as soon as you make that choice, it's mostly done. You go do the grav drive. Yep, done. Hey, paid. Good. There you go. Bam. And everybody's done. And it took 10 minutes to resolve this whole huge thing. And whereas I really think they could use to put one or two other branches in each of these quests, just a little bit, just the tiniest bit. Holy crap. That would be killer. Because I think too many of the quests are Eastern MMO quests, where you go to the guy, you get the task, You run 300 meters that way. You talk to that guy. You've completed the task. You run back to the initial guy. You get your reward. A lot of the quests, unfortunately, feel like that. And they're maybe a little more involved. And I'm not saying I hate them, because there are some which are way more fun than that. And there are some quest lines which are very involved. And if you watch me play, I mean, I've been surprised. But a lot of the quests, I think they've rushed to throw so many quests into this thing. But I think a lot of them are just lacking one or two branches, and they would be perfect. I was so excited when I was like, oh my God, I found 200-year-old, a generation ship. I'm going to have to negotiate this shit. I'm going to have to convince them, or maybe there's factions on this ship and I'm going to have to kill someone or do something up here, or convince someone to go along with, getting a grab drive and moving. No, done. You throw a couple switches and you're done. I think the execution on some of these quests is disappointing. There you go. The overall grade, it is a solid B. It's a B+. I'm enjoying the hell out of it. I played 60 damn hours in the last 2 weeks, which is almost, I think, ridiculous. You certainly haven't seen 60 hours, but I've played a lot of time. It's a good game. In a year, this game will be mod. I mean, there's 1,000 mods out already. Oh, good. Mods. 100% mods. Right? Mods. There's going to be mods, and it's going to be a great game. And I get it. People go, man, that's Bethesda letting modders fix their game for them. And the answer is, yep. Yes, they made their game wide open. We should respect that and be freaking happy about it, because that is awesome. Thank goodness. This game in a year is going to be, it'll be game of next year. If it's not game of this year, because Baldur's Gate might have stolen its thunder, it'll be game of the year next year, because, I mean, it won't be, but you know what I mean? In my heart, it'll be game of the year next year, because it'll be modded. Someone will have revamped the skill system and blah, and I'm thinking of trying. I would like to try almost my hand at modding, because I really think that some of these quests would benefit from a little randomization, and I'm wondering if that's even possible. Oh, you go to the guy, and then I roll a 6-sided die and go, yep, the guy's not there. Oh, why? Well, because then we put this other thing in place. Or he tries to kill you, right? Something like that, right? I think just a little bit of that, and these quests would be great. So, anyway, I know you don't really care to hear me yap about why I think Starfield is good or bad, but I thought it was interesting. There's a lot of opinions about this goddamn game out there in the universe. And so I thought, what the hell, one more that 3 people were going to watch? Whatever. I like the game. Is it worth all of the discussion? No, but it's a fun game. And if you have the chance to play it, and you like any Bethesda game at all, if you like Daggerfall, there's a little bit of that in there. If you like Oblivion, there's a little bit of that. If you like Morrowind, if you like Skyrim, if you like Fallout, there's a lot of Fallout in this game. If you like any Bethesda RPG in the past 20 years, you will probably like this damn game. So, and if you're a PlayStation 5 owner, then I apologize, because you're probably not playing this game right away. But, damn it, that makes up for all the great JRPGs on the PlayStation over the years that are just now coming to PC. So, and I love JRPG. So, but then again, yeah, I'm a sucker, and I bought way too many consoles over the years. So anyway, nonetheless, that's my own thing. There's my Starfield grade. It's a good B+, maybe creeping up an A- here. Don't know. I've only played through the first part of the story, if that. Let's see how it goes. We're gonna play a little bit tonight. Thank you for listening to my rant, and I appreciate it. Have a good evening.